Ever wondered how vital a role these tiny buzzing creatures play in our ecosystem? It's much more significant than most of us realize. Bees are the unsung heroes of our planet, tirelessly pollinating our crops and flowers. They are responsible for 1 out of every 3 bites of food we eat. But these critical pollinators are in decline, and this could have devastating consequences for our food supply. So let's dive into the fascinating world of bees. 10. Bees are super pollinators. But what does that mean? Well, let's dive right in. Picture a busy bee buzzing from flower to flower, collecting nectar. What's happening is more than just a sweet feast. As the bee visits each flower, it unintentionally picks up pollen on its fuzzy body. When it lands on the next flower, some of that pollen rubs off, fertilizing the plant. This process, known as pollination, is essential for plant reproduction. And here's the kicker: bees are master pollinators. Their furry bodies are designed to gather and transport pollen efficiently. They are so good at their job that roughly 1/3 of the food we eat is directly or indirectly dependent on bee pollination. That's right, 1/3. Imagine your plate without apples, almonds, or even coffee. So next time you see a bee buzzing around a flower, remember, without bees, we'd have a lot less variety in our diets. 9. Bees communicate in a fascinating way. Now imagine having to tell your friends about a fantastic new restaurant you discovered, but instead of using words, you use dance. That's exactly how bees do it. They perform a unique routine known as the waggle dance. It's not just any dance, but a highly sophisticated form of communication. The bee will wiggle its body in a figure-8 pattern, and the direction of the dance corresponds to the direction of the food source in relation to the sun. The length of the dance indicates the distance to the food. It's a delicate dance of nature, an extraordinary language without words. This dance isn't just a whimsy, it's a vital lifeline for the colony, guiding bees to nectar and pollen. So bees essentially have their own form of interpretive dance. 8. Bees have not 2, but 5 eyes. It's true, the world of a bee is a panorama of information captured through a quintet of eyes. These aren't just any eyes, but 2 distinct types. 3 of them are simple eyes, or ocelli, perched on top of the bee's head. They're not for detail, but they sense light intensity, helping bees stay oriented to the sun and maintain their internal biological clock. Then there are the 2 large compound eyes, each composed of thousands of tiny lenses. They give bees a wide field of vision, allowing them to detect movement and analyze polarized light patterns, which is quite handy for navigating and finding flowers. Each one of these lenses provides a small piece of the puzzle to form a mosaic image of the world. So bees see the world quite differently than we do. They're little flying detectives, piecing together their surroundings with a 5-eyed perspective. 7. The queen bee has a unique and vital role. The queen bee is the mother of all bees in the hive, laying up to 2,000 eggs each day. That's right, 2,000. And her lifespan is nothing short of impressive. While worker bees live for just a few weeks, a queen bee can live for up to 5 years. That's roughly 200 times the lifespan of her worker daughters. But she isn't just a powerful egg-laying machine. The queen bee also exudes pheromones that influence the behavior and unity of the entire hive. These pheromones regulate the hive's activities, from foraging to defense. The queen bee's role is so crucial that if she dies, the hive can't survive without a new queen. This dynamic queen bee is not only a figurehead, but also the operational center of the hive. The queen bee truly is the heart and soul of the hive. 6. Bees are surprisingly fast flyers. Now, when you think of speed, bees might not be the first thing that comes to mind, but these industrious insects are actually quite speedy. On average, a bee can fly at a speed of about 15 miles per hour. That's pretty impressive for a creature so small. But it's not just their speed that's worth noting. It's the way they achieve it. Bees have 2 pairs of wings, a larger front pair and a smaller back pair. These wings beat over 200 times per second. Yes, you heard it right, 200 times per second. This rapid flapping combined with their lightweight bodies allows them to zip from flower to flower with astonishing agility. And that's not all. When a bee is heavily laden with pollen and nectar, it can still maintain a speed of around 12 miles per hour. Talk about being strong and swift. Bees may be small, but they sure are fast. 5. Bees can recognize human faces. That's right, these tiny creatures have an impressive cognitive ability. This fascinating fact is backed by scientific studies. Researchers have discovered that bees, with their tiny brains, can recognize and remember human faces. This ability is known as configural processing, which allows them to perceive a face's arrangement of features as a whole. Scientists trained honeybees by showing them pictures of human faces alongside a sugary treat. Eventually, the bees began to associate the faces with the reward. Even after the treats were removed, the bees still remembered the faces, demonstrating an impressive memory. This incredible skill helps bees navigate their environment, recognize flowers, and remember their paths. So if you've ever felt like a bee was watching you, you might not have been imagining things. These little pollinators are smarter than we often give them credit for. Next time you see a bee, remember it might just remember you. 4. Bees never sleep. Now, isn't that intriguing? Just when we thought bees couldn't get any more fascinating, they surprise us once again. Unlike us humans who need our beauty sleep to function properly, bees don't have that luxury. But that doesn't mean they're buzzing around all day and night. They do have periods of rest, although it's not sleep in the way we understand it. Bees don't close their eyes and dream, mostly because they don't have eyelids to close. But they do have downtime. During these moments, they reduce their activity levels and remain stationary. You might wonder, when do they find the time to rest? Well, they have a schedule, just like us. Worker bees, for instance, rest at night, while the queen bee has periods of rest throughout the day. Their lack of sleep allows them to be ever vigilant, always ready to protect their hive and queen. Bees are truly hard workers. They don't even sleep. 3. Male bees can't sting. That's right, not all bees are equipped with the infamous stinger we've come to associate with these buzzing creatures. In the world of bees, it's the females that carry this weapon. Male bees, known as drones, have a different role in the hive, and their anatomy reflects this. Drones are larger and squarer than their female counterparts, but lack a stinger. Their primary role is to mate with the queen bee, and for that, they don't need a stinger. On the other hand, female bees, both workers and queens, are equipped with a stinger as a defense mechanism to protect the hive from threats. So while drones may appear intimidating due to their size, they're actually the gentle giants of the bee world. They can't sting you, even if they wanted to. So if you've ever been stung by a bee, it was definitely a female. 2. Honeybees die after they sting. This grim fate is a result of their unique stinger structure. Unlike other stinging insects, honeybees possess a barbed stinger that remains lodged in the skin of the victim. When the bee attempts to fly away after an attack, its stinger, along with a portion of its digestive tract, muscles, and nerves, are ripped from its body. This traumatic event ultimately leads to the bee's death. This phenomenon is not an accident of nature, but rather a sophisticated defense mechanism. When a honeybee stings, it releases pheromones that signal other bees to the location, inciting them to join the defensive assault. This act, while deadly for the individual bee, is a sacrifice for the greater good of the hive. It serves as a deterrent, warning potential predators that an attack on the hive comes with a painful price. A bee's sting is truly a sacrificial act. 1. Bees are essential for our survival. These buzzing creatures, often dismissed as a mere summer nuisance, hold the key to the survival of our ecosystem. Bees are the unsung heroes of our planet, working tirelessly to pollinate our crops and wild plants. Imagine a world without the vibrant hues of flowers or the sweet taste of fruits. This would be our reality without the industrious bees going about their daily business. They are responsible for pollinating about 1/3 of the food we consume each day. That's right, every third bite of food you take, you owe to a bee. Furthermore, bees are the keystone species in most ecosystems. Many plants and animals rely on bees for their survival. The pollination done by bees leads to the production of seeds, which birds and small mammals feed on. So the next time you swat at a bee, remember, they're not just buzzing around aimlessly. They're working to keep our world alive and thriving. Without bees, our world would be a very different place. So, these are the top 10 fascinating facts about bees. From their role as super pollinators to their ability to recognize human faces, bees continue to amaze us. They're speedsters in flight, and their communication tactics are surprisingly sophisticated. It's hard to forget that male bees can't sting or that honeybees meet their end after just one sting. But perhaps the most awe-inspiring fact is their absolute necessity for our survival. Next time you see a bee, remember these facts and appreciate these tiny yet mighty creatures.